What is prompt flow and why should we talk about prompt engineering? Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I would like to share with you something I have been testing for a while, which is prompt flow. This new Microsoft suite of development tools designed to streamline the entire development cycle of AI applications which are powered by large language models at an enterprise scale. I am sure you already envision that AI and large language models open up new possibilities to create innovative applications with human-like text understanding and generation capabilities. Now, this revolution made the role of prompt engineering something crucial. We can explain this role as someone that has the ability to create effective prompts for specific business scenarios. So let's go ahead and take a look at prompt flow. Prompt flow is a powerful theater within Azure Machine Learning that streamlines the development, evaluation, and continuous integration and deployment of prompt engineering projects. So let's go ahead. As you can see in my screen, I have my portal and I have a resource, an Azure Machine Learning resource already created. So if we go ahead and launch our Azure Machine Learning Studio, you will be able to see the prompt flow option on the left panel. Now, if you click in there, you have different information in here like the flows, runs, connection, runtime, and vector index. But before we start running, we need to first create our compute resource in order for a flow to run correctly. As you will see, I already have a computer resource created. It's standard E4SV3. And in this opportunity, I also have created an environment. You will see that the environment that I have created, which is listed in here, has already installed. It's a Docker file that is running on my computer instance and has installed different resources that I will need in order to run my my flow. Okay, let's go ahead and understand a little bit better what we have inside our prompt flow option. So as you can see in runtime, I have the environment that I have created linked to my compute instance. In order for your flow to be connected with other resources or services, we have the connections. They play a crucial role in establishing connections to remote APIs of different data sources that you would like to use. Now, in the Azure Machine Learning workspace, connection can be considered to be shared across the entire workspace or limited to the creator. What we will do is go ahead and see which one are the different connections that we will be able to add to our workspace. In this opportunity, as you can see, I already have my OpenAI connection added in here. But if I click here, you will see that you have the possibility to add Azure Content Safety, OpenAI, which is the one that I already have in here, Cognitive Search, OpenAI, Quadrant, SERP, and WeAviate. But this is an interesting one. You can also create a custom connection, which maybe, for example, you can connect to Cosmos DB or any other data sources or API that you want to consume inside your flow. Let's go ahead and create a flow. So I will go back to my main area and let's go ahead and click create. You will be able to see that you have different options. One is the standard flow, the other one is the chat flow, and then you have the evaluation flow. The standard flow is designed for general application development. It basically will allow you to create a flow using different building tools for developing large language model applications. If we talk about the chat flow, this is specially tailored for conversational application development. So if you are trying to build a chatbot, this would be the best one to use. And then finally, we have the evaluation flow, which is designed for evaluation scenarios. Basically, it will enable you to create a flow that takes the output of previous flows, runs as input, and evaluate the results. We also need to consider talking about the gallery that is available. In this case, as you can see, we have different already created applications as samples that you can take a look at and understand how this works. We have different for standard, for chat, and for evaluation. But also you can take a look at this. You can import your flow from a file share or from a local computer that you are building. So this means that you can create your flows in your computer. I will show that in a moment after I explain a couple of more things from flow in the cloud. So let's go ahead and create a standard flow. In this case, I will call this as demo simple, and it will create our flow. The standard flow is in the cloud is being created by an input that has a jog, that has an echo, and has an output. This is the flow that you are seeing here, but what I would like to explain before jumping into the example is the type of tools that we have inside our flow. We have the LLM tool, we have the prompt tool, and the Python tool. So the LLM tool allows us to write custom prompts as leverage large language models to achieve specific goals that we have, such as, for example, generating customer support responses. When it comes to prompt, basically it will allow us to prepare a prompt as a string for more complex use cases, or to use in conjunction with other prompt tools or Python tools. And then we have the most important one from my point of view, which is the Python tool that will enable us to write custom Python functions to perform different tasks, such as fetching web pages, processing intermediate data, calling third-party APIs, consuming different large language models. And then we have, of course, the option of more tools, which are different tools that are available. Some were created outside Microsoft, but we have the possibility to, for example, include OpenAI GPT-4b, include when it comes to content safety, vector index lookup, vector database lookup, and they are all different tools that you can use in order to create your flow. That's it when it comes to the different information that you need to know about prompt flow in the cloud. But what happens if I want to run, as we said, we have the possibility to run prompt flow on your local computer. Then we have what it is, the prompt flow extension, which is available for Visual Studio Code. Let me go ahead and show you. So this is the extension that you can go ahead and install in your computer, in your Visual Studio. You have in here also, take a look at this, which is the documentation in order to learn more about how to prepare your environment on your computer and how to actually run the flow. As you can see, there is quick start, how-to guides, tutorials, concept, etc. But before installing everything, as we said, we had created this flow in Azure Machine Learning. But this is also a group of files that were created inside our environment in a compute instance in Azure Machine Learning in the cloud. But what we could do in order to run this exact code in our desktop is to download this project. How do we do that? If you see at the right of the page, there is an option which is File. You can go ahead and extend this option, and you will see different files that are part of this project. You will see the dag.yaml, which is our flow, the JSON, the meta YAML, requirements, echo, and jog Jinja. Okay, the jog Jinja is actually something that is being created when we use the flow, the tool prompt. Okay, we could go ahead and download this and open up this folder in Visual Studio Code and run it. But I will explain from scratch how this is created in our Visual Studio Code project. Let me go ahead and show you Visual Studio Code. So I have in here installed the extension. If you go ahead and take a look at the extension, it has different information like the flows, the tools, the batch run history, and the connections, which is pretty similar to what we used to have sorry, so to what we had in Azure portal in our Azure Machine Learning Studio. I have the exact same type of connections I can use inside Visual Studio Code. And for example, the Azure OpenAI, you can see that I already have configured in here the same connection that I have in Azure portal. And the other important thing is that we have the same tools to work in here with our flow, but I don't have any flow created. If you go to my sample, this is an absolutely empty folder. And do you remember the step I just did in the portal in order to create a flow? Well, in here I'm going to the flow area, and I'm going to select create in here. In here I have another option which is not which I don't have in the cloud, which is to create an empty flow. So we're going to create an empty flow for you to understand how the one that we just created, the standard one that we created on the cloud, was created in the backend. So let's go ahead and create an empty flow. And we have to give it a name. Let's go with sample empty. And once that flow is created, you will see that there is a folder inside in here. And if we open it up, we have our sample empty, and it has the open, let me go ahead and close this. We have the open, the test, batch, run, and build option here. But let's go ahead and take a look at what actually was created. So it was a flow.dag.yaml. So this is the file that actually is the flow. Okay, but I'm not seeing like I used to see it, like I just saw it on the Azure portal. It's different, the look and feel that I have in here. So I'm going to prompt to the extension, and I'm going to open the same file in here through this area. You can open it in here, or as you can see, it has the option to be opened in here in Visual Editor. I'm going to select this one, and you will see that this option is pretty similar to what we have in the Azure portal, but I don't have a flow in here. It's absolutely empty because that's what we created. But if you go ahead and take a look in here, you can take advantage of the tools, the same one that were available in the cloud. So we can select more, and you can find more different tools that are the ones that we just saw on the cloud. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happens if we create a prompt. I will just do this as an example. I will not edit absolutely anything. So I just clicked on prompt, and I need to give it a name. Let's go ahead and select just prompt joke. And this is interesting because it's telling me that it's going to create a new file. So each one of the tools creates a backend file, which is the one that is actually being executed when the flow gets to that block, to that part of the flow. And in this opportunity, I don't have an existing file because this is something from scratch. So I'm going to select new file. And you can see now that I have a box. This is much more similar to what I had on the portal. If I go in here, you will be able to see that actually we created not only this folder that contains all the UI of the extension, but also we have the possibility to see the code that is being added in here. You can see that it's already linked in to that code in here. So if we would like to have one box connected to this one, we have the input box. And what we will do, I just do this as an example. This is not actually going to work. What I could do is I could select an output from the entire flow, and an input are connected to this one. So let's go ahead and just create this. This is not something that we are going to use, but I'm going to put it as an example for you to see it. Okay, so what happens in here? So I'm going to text, and in here I have the option to add a variable that is going to be the one that is being an input on the flow. And you can see that it created the input and it's being added to my flow in here. And the same would happen if I had an output, something that I want to return from here. But in this opportunity, we're going to leave it that way because this is not an example, as I said, that we want to execute. I just wanted you to know that it is absolutely easy to run it on your local computer without paying cost of a compute instance in the cloud. But Ivana, you didn't tell me how to execute this. So basically what you are going to be doing in here in order to execute it is simple, go to this part and execute it from here. Once you select this option, it will give you the possibility to ask you, and here of course we don't have an output, that's why it's not executing, but you will have the possibility to execute it in your terminal. So this will launch the execution of the flow and ask you the question, that example that it will be the same that you run it on the cloud. Okay, so this is the first video of a series of different content that I'm going to create, in which I'm going to walk you through each one of the samples. It's one of the different demos that I have prepared, but I wanted you guys to be aware of what can be done in the cloud and what can be done on your desktop. Now, something that I didn't express is how to install. So how to install the extension. If you go to here and you go to the quick start, in here you have the how to set up your dev environment, and it will guide you how to install Miniconda and how to create your environment in your local machine and execute an example, as you can see here. Hope this was useful. I have a lot of information that I would like to share with you, and see you on the next video.